I grew up with that. That actually comes from my dad. My brothers were big hunters. So, and my dad was military. And he, you know, if you hunt, I'm from rural Georgia. So anybody who hunts knows you get up at old dark 100 to go hunting. And so my daddy used to, you know, drag us out of bed. My older brother would be like, Daddy, I don't want to be no dark hunter. Can I please be a noonday hunter? Please, God, why are you dragging me out of bed? And so, you know, the term was just kind of, I'm like, you know, that would be a good term for this. Thank you, big brother. Talon, actually, he was one of the first, but I stole him out of a fantasy set of stories I'd written. He seemed like a good idea. He was a Celt, you know, he had a good origin story. You know, Ashron was one of the originals, but back then he was one of the bad guys. He and his mother were actually anti-Dark Hunter. So when I started to do the novels, oh gosh, what, 4 or 5 years later, I'm like, you know, he works great as a bad guy, but I think he would work better if I stuck him with the good guys, because they need a leader. They were not very organized when I was doing shorts. I was 18. I didn't know what I was doing. So you know, I was kind of winging it. And when I sat down to actually conceptualize a whole big series of novels, I'm like, okay, now we got to think this through a little bit better. The world's cool, but we need to make it a lot better. So yeah, then I started moving chess pieces around, and somewhere I have the old notebook still. And I'm like, okay, wait, if we put Ash over here, but now the Daemons have no leader. So I had to create Striker at that point. I'm like, yeah, we need Striker. Originally, they, you know, going back to when I was 18, they just kind of sold their, the whole act of vengeance didn't come into play until I lost my brother. And that was when I was 21. And that was having someone ripped out of your life needlessly. You know, that angst. I mean, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning, I still remember when it happened. My soul made that sound that, you know, how everybody in the world didn't hear it, you know. And that was when that, you know, that cry that goes now and resonates to Mount Olympus and calls out Artemis because you need that vengeance so badly. That was when that came in, and that really added a depth to the series that hadn't existed prior to. It had to do with the death of my brother because, you know, our system of justice does not serve us. I mean, you know, we got the people who killed my brother got off with it. You know, and my grandfather was also murdered, and the people who did it were never found. We know who killed my brother, and they were never brought to justice. And that is something that just, you know, it you don't get over it, you know. And karma's asleep at the wheel. So it was just that need to equal the you know, karma, where are you? You know, as my brother says, when has justice not failed us? You know, it really is. I mean, that has, you know, life always has inequality to people. So